Every mile.
Yes, sir. For that right there. They get cold. I'll preach a while now.
I'll tell you. Can you make it without him?
Nobody.
No.
Can't even walk without him holding her hand, brother.
I couldn't get up and make my day without him.
What do you want to think about it? Brother Cullen began to quote the scripture. He said, "Yea, though I walk through the valley and the shadow of death." You know, they'll say, and I told Brother Cullen this week, we have a lot of funerals, they'll give us that, and they'll say, "We want you to read that." And Brother Brandon, in an actual man or woman's mind, they think that's when you're laying there in hospice or when you're laying there about ready to die.
No, sir. No, sir.
Now, according to what I found, David was a young man.
He was.
And he loved the Lord.
Yeah, Lord.
He was a man after God's own heart. Is that not right?
Yes, he was.
And I believe today, Brother Bill, that he looked down and he wrote that a long time ago when he was young, because, "Yea, though I walk through the valley in the shadow of death," that's talking about this world right
Yes,
here.
sir. Yes, sir.
As we walk through, "I shall fear no evil."
For thou art.
Why would you fear evil when you come down to die?
Why would you?
Most people, when they come down to die, Brother Leroy, they could care less about tomorrow.
Amen.
They could care less about tonight because they know they're going to die. Those that are lost today, they're mad at the world when they come down to die because everything is everybody else's fault. And they just look what shape I'm in. But to the children of God today, when they come down to die, they don't look at it that way. They don't look at it that way.
That's simple.
Paul said, I'm convinced my departure is soon at hand.
Yeah.
Soon at hand. I've fought a good fight. I've kept the faith.
I'm finished my course.
And I've finished my course. And henceforth, there is a crown of glory
Oh, God.
laid up for me, and not just for me only,
All of them.
but for all those that love and serve as a appearing here.
Amen.
What about that? Do you love and serve as appearing here? What's his appearing today? I saw his appearing here.
Yes, sir.
I saw the Lord in the shouts and your preaching.
Thank you, Lord.
So then, I don't want to take the time. I
Take
feel
your time.
good.
Take your time, Brother Jason.
Listen, there's a lot
Right
of things that's on my mind.
We was a little late getting started.
Listen today, but the one thing about it, today, listen, if you's ever in your right mind in your life, is when, listen, the Spirit of God, when you come under the influence of that, and you can feel His warmth, you can feel the arms wrap around you. Listen, there's nothing like it. Listen, Brother Collins already said, and I hope you'll pray. Listen, he said, but listen, yea, though I walk, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod, thy staff, they do comfort me. Listen, have you ever been comforted? You told me you had.
Yeah, buddy.
Brethren, I was comforted here today. Oh, friend, listen. What are you talking about? I'm talking about the comfort when worries flood your soul. When you got to worry about the doctor's appointment. When you got to worry about the bills piling up. When you got to worry about your children out on the beaten highway. Oh, friend, listen, that's when He comforts you today, and that you realize that everything is going to be all right. Listen, today in my Father's house, everything's going to be all right. Here's what He said. Listen, I heard a man this week quote that scripture. He said, in my Father's house there are many rooms. That's not what it said. There's a reason He said mansions. Listen today. Oh, friend, in my Father's house there are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. Listen, I would have told you. But I'm going away now to prepare a place for you. You see, there's a host already in heaven, Brother Brandon. If His Father's house had many mansions, why would He have to prepare a place? Listen, for you and me, there was already a heavenly host there. Listen, oh friend, I go away day to prepare you a play. At where I am, there you may be also. Listen, today, who was he talking to? He was talking to the man and woman that lives in Beverly Hills. No. Listen, he was talking to the man, listen, that had the biggest bank account. No. Oh, friend, he was talking to the whole world today. Aren't you glad, Brother Cullen?
Yes, sir.
Then it was to the whole world. Listen, the Bible said, listen like this. Behold, God gave His only begotten Son. Listen, that whomsoever would believe in Him, listen, should not perish. Listen, but how? Listen, everlasting life. Listen, somebody said, well, preacher, I'm getting old. I'm not going to live forever. No, this body you look at, Brother Cullen, it's going to bang to the dust of the earth. Listen, oh, friend, listen. But the real you, the real me, that dwells inside. That's why He said, all souls are mine. Listen, I believe, listen, that when this body dies, they'll plant in or they'll burn it up. And listen, the soul will go back to God who gave it. Listen, and Brother Cullen, somebody said, well, listen, today when we leave here with natural death, that's all. Listen, today they're saying that once you die here, there's nothing hereafter. Listen, today, friend, I'll declare to you, there isn't nothing that hasn't been falsely said. At this book won't listen, defend today, and listen by the authority of me and this word here. We already had a brother, that son Jane, listen, that he said, lying there, oh, friend, if my hope was in this life only, I'd be emotional and miserable. Listen, but my hope, Brother Brandon, it's not just here. Somebody said, what do you mean, preacher, you're old? Listen, I have a hope that I'll see Charlotte and Sarah today. Listen, but that's not like the home that I have in my heart. That I'm leaving here one of these mornings. It won't be on Delta Airline. Listen, it won't be on. Listen, Tram. Listen today. Oh, today it'll be all ready to go home. Listen, that's the thing that I want men and women to realize. Somebody says, preacher, it's too hard for me to believe. It was too hard for me to believe. Listen, but I'll declare to you, I had to come down in my life, and I believed in Him with my whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. Listen, heaven sometimes seems so far away. Listen, does it ever feel that way sometimes? Oh, today, but then sometimes I feel I'm walking in it. Like I did here today. Listen, that's what I want to get to you, friend. Heaven is just as close as you want it to be. Listen, Brother Cullen, you know what? I fear men and women, listen, are getting things too much in a natural perspective. Listen, I realize we enjoy heaven here. I realize that we can feel heaven here. I realize that we can feel the Lord here. I realize that, listen, there has to be a resurrection from a dead state to a lively home. Listen, today, but there's one thing I know, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Listen, that just as my brother wrote, that if in this line, listen, that's all the hope we had. Listen, we'd be miserable people. Listen, and not only would we be miserable people, but it means when I see mothers crying over their children that's burying them, oh yeah, they'd have a right to cry. Why? Because it'd be no more today. Listen, but I'll declare to you, if that's the way it was, Jason was awful stupid for getting home and driving this far this morning. Oh, today, listen, I believe that one of these days days he's got a reunion, and we're all going to be there. Listen, somebody said, well, you know your mother's there. Listen, I haven't been there yet. Listen, Brother Cullen, well, I know you there. I've not been there yet, but I'll declare to you, I've heard them argue. I've heard churches split over what's to come. Let me tell you something. I want to say like this. Oh, Brother Brandon, I believe that we'll all be happy no matter what. Just as long as we get inside the gate, we'll all be satisfied. Listen, and that's all that matters. Listen, don't worry about what heaven's going to be like. Don't worry
not getting there.
about who and what's going to be there. Don't worry about, listen, if your mother's going to be there. Listen, because I promise you one thing, and I know it. Why? Because, listen, you remember your worries that you had before you got here this morning. You remember your heartaches that you had when you got here this morning. Listen, did you think about them when the meeting was rolling a while ago? Listen, did you worry about them when the meeting was rolling a while ago? Oh, when we all get to heaven, we'll all be satisfied. Listen, that's what heaven's about. That's what heaven is. Bless the good Lord. I feel good, Brother Cullen. I love preaching at this church. Listen, I told Sister Misty here a while back, her and Jason came up. Listen, and I haven't forgot that I didn't give it to him. Listen, today, but you, when you was up today preaching, listen, it reminded me of that video I watched of you when you was about in your low 20s. Listen, how did you got so happy? Listen, how is it that God can take an old, listen, a man or older man, listen, and make him jump like he did when he was a young man? Listen, oh, because the Spirit of God, there's nothing compared. Nothing glory. He said, listen, when I can't, God can. Listen, what's impossible with man, God shall do. Listen, bless the good Lord today. I told a young man last night, I said, many listen with their ears, because if they can hear, that's what expected. But sometimes it pays to listen with your heart and with your mind. Somebody said, listen, well, preacher, how can I listen with my ears? How can I listen with my heart? Have you ever looked at something, Sister Banks, and you knew it just wasn't the right thing to do, and something told you, no, don't do that? How many here have done that? Leave it alone. We all have. We all have. And then, have you ever went ahead and done it anyhow? Listen, raise your hand if you have.
Yeah, I have.
Listen, if you haven't, you're better than me. Listen, oh, but listen, then you hear this voice say, that's what you need to do. Listen, and here's what you need to do. And how many of us have done that when we hear that? What he says is good. We all have. That's how come we know the difference between good and evil. Is that not right?
That's right,
Listen, and what happens, Brother Brandon, when you go ahead and you do that, that is right. Listen, and today, Brother Cullen, what happens? Listen, you get a smelly sticker put on your shirt. No. Listen, you get to go get some out of the treasure chest. Oh, no. I'll tell you what. Oh, listen, when I was in grade school, they take and they put these stickers on our papers. And listen, if we done good, and they'd have a piece of pizza on them. They'd have, listen, something that you'd scratch, and then you smell it, and it smells just like it. Bless the Lord. Listen, and then when I go to the dentist, and we done good, they'd make us go over and say, will you get in this chest? Didn't know what was in there. We just reached in there and got something, and we were happy with it. Listen, I'll declare to you that when the Spirit of God blesses you, you just don't get a scratch and smell. Oh, listen, you get to eat, listen, and you get to have God the tribe. You get a treasure.
Yes, sir, you get a bite.
But you know what it is.
Buried.
Oh, come.
I buried it.
He said, come buy me gold that's been tried in the fire.
Yeah.
Listen today, come and buy of me gold that's tried in the fire.
Yeah,
you say, preacher, I don't have no money to buy it with. You say, preacher, I don't have, listen, no credit to get a loan to do that. I'm going to tell you what, friend, it's already been bought. Listen, it's already been bought. Well, how can I get it? I'll tell you how. If you're here today and you're lost, listen, get up and make the move. If you do that, you'll eat that heavenly manna. Oh, you'll eat of that reward, and you'll be happy when you do it. Listen, somebody said, well, preacher, I've got a few more days. I've got some things I need to clear up. I've got court this week. I'm going through a divorce. I've got all these things. I need to get it out of my way. I'm going to tell you what, friend. That's one of the things that David said, yea, though I walk through the valley and the shadow of death. Friend, I'm going to tell you what. If you're looking down a trail of heartache and trouble, I'm going to tell you what. Oh, that valley can be planted with roses. He said, I am the rose of Sharon. I am the lily of the valley. The bright, the morning star. Listen, friend, they tell me the darkest hour is right before dawn. Listen, do you remember when your darkest hour was?
Yeah, Lord.
Do you remember when that you thought the lights never would come on? Do you remember when you were sinking so low today? Do you remember when that you thought, Lord, for sure I'll burn forever. I'll burn forever. Oh, and then you say, oh God, I'll do what you want me to do.
Have mercy.
Have mercy on me, Heavenly Father. Give me that love. You remember that?
Yeah, buddy.
Brother Colin, I remember when I was 13, I bowed down. I didn't know, listen, all I was worried about, boys, listen, was dying and going to hell. I was scared of that old boogeyman. I don't care what anybody says, but I'll never forget. I tried to bargain. I wanted to say, Lord, forgive me, but I don't want to join the church till I'm 25. That was what I said. I don't know why I said that. Yes, I do. I was scared these old Baptist people wouldn't have me. Listen today, friend, listen, that's just right. I might as well put it where it is.
That's right. You tell it, brother.
Listen today, I don't want you to look at my daughter and say, you're too young to hound the Lord. I don't want you to look at anyone else's daughters or their sons and say, you're too young to hound the Lord. How do you know how young or how old? I'm going to tell you what, it's not my business.
Come on.
Oh, listen, I want you to say, all you have to do is reach out and put your
believe
and believe with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. Do you believe that today? As somebody said, will you believe in taking in little children? Oh, friend, you let me tell you something. I believe like this. That we read of Noah, how that he sent out that raven. Did it come back to him? Did it come back to him? It didn't come back. It didn't come back. And they waited for it. But then he sent out a dove. Bless that Lord. Bless the Lord. Oh, listen. When that dove come back, it came with something in its mouth. It came with an olive leaf.
It come back again too.
There's Ryan somewhere. Listen today, I believe that a man and woman, a young person, that when Jesus saves their soul, there'll be something seen about it. There'll be a feeling about it. You know, somebody said, well, we need to judge by the Spirit. Yes, we do. It's the only way to judge. But listen, I'll declare to you, church, we also have to have, make sure that we're in the Spirit to judge. Listen, if you're sitting there and you're thinking, well, I just saw that child playing basketball the other night down at the high school. Let me tell you something. If you're 90 years old, you may not be able to shoot a hoop no more, but that don't mean that the young man can't. Listen, that don't mean that the young girl can. I'm going to tell you what, friend, I think that sometimes we got the cart before the horse coming down through time. Listen, every man and every woman that come to the age of accountability What is that age? I know not.
Do not know.
But I do know this. It's when you come to the point that you know to do good and you do it not.
You're sin.
And to you it's sin.
That's right.
Listen, somebody said, well, now your mom and dad told you it was. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And you wouldn't have to tell any of your children either. Why? Because the same light that lied to me will light your children. Somebody said, well, I want to get them to church. I want them to hear preaching. I want them to hear. I'm going to tell you what. Listen, I've heard them say, I don't want to go. There's someone coming. They need to preach to. I'm going to tell you what, friend. If a man or woman's concerned about their soul, it won't take Cullen Caudill. It won't take Jason Lowry.
Take God.
It'll all take God.
Amen.
If he don't condemn them, listen, if they don't change for him, it won't do a bit of good.
That's right.
I know there's gospel. There's power in the gospel. There is. There is. But friend, listen, God will have to do the leading, Joe. Why? Because if he don't lead, listen, you can't follow.
That's right.
Listen, you can't follow man. Because the Bible said, you follow man, you'll both end up in the ditch. Why? Because they're telling my children and your and I like this. Oh, just wait. Jesus is coming back. He's going to clear the earth. And he's going to set up a new kingdom. Let me tell you something, friend.
He got it done first time.
He's already win. I thought of this. I thought of this. Listen, have you ever given this thought? Have you ever known of something to go up and listen and never come back down? Listen, I thought of many things. Most things that go up, they have to come down. But then the thought come to me. I know a man that went up. He's not coming back down. Somebody said, oh, you mean you don't believe Jesus is coming back? I believe, listen, he's going to come back, but he's not going to touch this earth.
No, he's not.
Listen, the Bible says we'll meet him in the air till he called up. Listen, and what that third eternal heaven. Bless the Lord today. I want to. What time is it?
It don't matter.
Listen,
it don't matter. Get that coat off.
Get a song. Get a song.
No.
Listen, here's what I want to get to you. Have you ever heard? Listen, the saying. It's listen, the thought that counts. Listen, it's the thought that counts. We've all heard it. Listen, well, listen. I'll believe it to an extent. Listen, Brother Cullen. Listen, you know, me and you, this shirt I have on today, you got one just like it. Listen, today, but if we thought about it, listen, if I thought that you'd like to have this shirt, but if I was 3 times bigger than you, it wouldn't do you a bit of good to think about it, because you couldn't wear it if you wanted to. Listen, oh, listen, if you thought that it'd be good to have your daughter or your son go down to the water and be baptized, and it wasn't, would it be any good? No. Listen today, but I read where a man, listen, today said, did he just think? No, but he done more than think about it. He got up and he said, Father, I'll go down and I'll die in the room and in the stead. Listen. Today, and he did that, and he fulfilled it. Church, listen, if it's on your mind, Brother Bill, to call the neighbor boy of yours, or call the neighbor girl of yours, and say, won't you go to church with me? Listen, and then 2 days later, you're standing in the funeral home over their body, and lo and man, they were already gone, listen, but they were alive when you were given that thought. Did that thought, is all that thought just counted? No. You should have called. Listen, you see, friend, listen, God gives you a mind to do something, but you'll have to do it. That's what I'm telling you today. God may be telling you to get up and move, and if He's telling you that, you'll sit there, and it's not the thought that's going to count, that you thought, action. I should have got up. Action. Oh, listen, I saw a young girl here a while back. Oh, I knew in my heart She should have got up and should have moved. She should have got up and went down. And now when I see her, it looks like her fountains is dry. It looks like the desert has taken over her soul. I don't know. I'm not the God. Listen to judge that. Listen, our Father that we serve is the one that judges that. Listen, but I'll declare to you today, if God is moving in your life,
Get up.
telling you to go,
Get up.
you may not get that feeling again. If that feeling leaves you today, wouldn't it be sad? Oh, what if Jesus, listen, said, I've knocked, oh, my last knock, I've called my last call.
Oh, God.
He'll do that someday.
He will.
Oh, I broke your heart the last time. Now, I can't do no more for ye. Have you ever went to the doctor over something that what they give you didn't help you? We've all done that. Then you go back. They say, well, I must have been wrong. Listen today. Oh, here's a doctor that it only takes one time to go to.
One trip.
And you go that one trip,
Amen.
you'll get all you need, friend. He'll make you alive. He'll make you do again.
Amen.
Yes, he did. And I'll tell you what, when you leave, you leave happy. You leave the happiest you've ever been in your life. The greatest day in my life was when Jesus came
Amen.
in. Oh,
Amen.
the greatest day in your life will be when Jesus comes in.
The morning stars.
Oh, friend, listen today if you want joy. Listen to that voice. That's all
Amen.
I've wanted to preach here today. Listen to that voice.
Listen to
Somebody
the
said,
power.
well, if I do, my wife will leave me.
Let her go.
If I do, my friends, they won't like me no more. I'm going to tell you what. I'd rather on that judgment morning
Have Jesus.
have Jesus.
Amen.
Be happy to see him.
Amen. Glory.
I'd rather be willing to say, Jesus, I'm coming home, than to say, will you let me now, Lord, it'll be too late. Somebody said, God won't send you to hell. I'm going to tell you
Send
what,
yourself.
man. You'll send yourself, but
Everybody
on
so
that
pleased.
morning,
He will.
on that morning, if you're not, listen, saved by His powerful blood,
Depart.
God will tell you, depart from me.
Amen.
You workers of iniquity, I never knew you.
Never means never.
Oh, friend, listen today. What kind of a man is he? Somebody said, well, I thought you said Jesus is full of mercy.
He is.
He is while he's sitting on the mercy seat.
The mercy's getting up.
But when he leaves it today, there'll be no more
He'll
mercy.
be a God of wrath.
And let me tell you something, friend, because why? He'll have one thing on his mind. I'm going to get him and take him home.
Get my church.
I'm going down and
Get
get
my
my
church.
children.
Yeah, buddy.
My church, my bride,
I'm
the
going to get
Lamb's
her. Take her
wife.
home.
Oh, I'm glad to be a part of
Well, carry her
that.
across his home.
I'm glad that in the morning, mothers, I'll hear him call my name. And when I hear him call my name, I'll not answer for Cullen Caudill. I won't answer for, listen, not a one of you share, but I'll tell you, somebody said, what's that name? Oh, listen, John said, he said, behold, I'll give unto you a white stone.
Yes,
And that
stone.
stone, a new name. No man knoweth
Except he.
that saveth he that receiveth it.
Amen.
Listen today, today,
When he calls that name,
I believe that when he calls it, I'll know it. Somebody said, well, what is it, Jason? I don't know. Listen, somebody said, well, I thought he that receives it knows it.
Will in that
He
day.
will
In
in
that
the
day.
morning. He will in the morning. Somebody said, well, you ought not be talking in tongues. Let me tell you something, Brother Cullen. I'll declare to you, be careful what you say. Be careful what you say. Because I'll tell you this much. Woo! Shame on you putting me up here like this. If Jesus Christ walked through that door when He was walking here on the earth, now I'm talking about in the body that He had here, if He walked through that door, listen, and began to talk, you all would look at Him and say, what in the world is He saying? Listen, what in the world is He saying? Somebody said, what do you mean? What do you mean? He didn't speak our English.
No, he did not.
Listen, you wouldn't understand a word that He's saying, but I'll declare to you, listen, if He wanted to, He could speak in that same language, and by the Spirit of God, we would understand what He's saying. Oh, because the Spirit of God would take care of it. Do you have that?
That's all right, brother. Yes,
Said,
sir.
well, then you old Baptists don't believe in speaking in tongues.
Yeah, we
I'm going
do.
to tell you what. I don't know about you. Listen, well, me now and believe me later. Listen, when you get the Spirit of God in your life, I've heard the tongues talking here this morning. Woo! Why? Why? Somebody said, well, no, I heard Cullen Caudill say glory. I heard him say hallelujah. Listen, but I'm going to tell you what. If you don't have the Spirit of God in your life, you won't understand it.
That's right.
You won't understand it.
It'll sound foolish to you.
Am I making sense?
It'll sound foolish to you.
It'll sound foolish. We used to, when we were little, you know what shouting meant to us kids? Sister Susan, God bless your line. You know what shouting meant to us when we were growing up? Listen, when you got so hungry, that shouting meant it's time to wind her up. It's getting time to go eat. Listen, that's what it meant to us kids. Listen, but as I got older, that shouting, it would begin to break my heart. Listen, I hear it. I didn't really understand it. And it had a lonesome sound about it. Listen, Brother Brandon, and it would cause my heart to cry. Listen, but when Jesus came down and moved in my life, I knew what it was. I knew I needed that.
Glory.
I knew there was comfort in that.
Yes, sir.
I knew that
I
there
wanted
was
that.
joy in
I wanted
that.
that. I wanted that. I wanted that.
I wanted that.
I saw it fruit.
Like the old black woman. Everybody got time for that. Listen, today that's what it's about. Listen, do you have time for Jesus this morning? Listen, today I've got time for
I've
him.
got time for it.
Listen, somebody said, well, I've got this and that to do. Oh, if the Spirit of God's blessing you. Listen, friend, it won't cause you to worry about the time. It won't cause you to say, well, Jason, he's looking at your watch. The Bible says the Spirit is subject to the prophet. Nature-wise, we want to look at our watches. We don't want to worry at people. But I'm going to tell you
In the
what.
Spirit.
I believe I haven't worried one of you.
No, sir. No,
So
sir.
now you're patting yourself on the back. No, I'm not. This ain't mine, Colin. It ain't yours.
No, it belongs to the
It
Lord.
belongs to the Lord.
Amen.
Jason and Colin couldn't
We're just
do what
vessels.
we've done here
We're
today.
just vessels.
And I'll tell you what, if I'd have known I was going to be like this today, I wouldn't give it one second thought about coming. I
You've been here yesterday.
yes, sir. Colin, you and Brandon wouldn't have had to worry about putting up with me last night. I'd have slept in the parking lot last night. Somebody said, you really mean that, preacher? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Because the Spirit of God, when it overshadows you like this,